Today, we're gonna rank every Pikmin character. Yes, I'm even counting this as a Pikmin game. This ranking includes anything. Enemies, captains, side characters, and whatever this abomination is. For those who didn't see my ranking Super Mario characters video, the rules for what counts as a character can sometimes be a tad subjective. So let's just put this in the simplest of rules. Anything that breathes and has one of those newfangled faces is a Pikmin character. The main reason I laid down these guidelines is because I'm not counting a bunch of plants as characters. In the Mario video, I had rules against ranking size and color variants, but this rule won't directly apply to my rankings, as something like a dwarf Bulborb and regular Bulborbs are much more distinct than Goombas and Big Goombas. They even have their own distinct Piclopedia entries and lore. The order a character is brought up in will be by their game debut, but their ultimate ranking will encapsulate their entire role throughout the whole series. So for example, Red Pikmin will be ranked in the Pikmin 1 segment, but they will be ranked on how they were throughout the entire franchise, and not just Pikmin 1. And lastly, I try to be as comprehensive as possible, but if I forgot your character, the Pleximus pooping platypus, the doctors have a report just in. You likely will survive. I don't know, like an 80% chance. Armored Cannon Beetle. This is actually a fairly clever boss. He sucks, you shove, I'm gonna give him an A before I make this sound any worse than it does already. The Beady Longlegs is a boss that I think gets a bit more hate than they deserved. There is a distinct strategy and approach here that most people don't consider. Going in with a small group is vastly more beneficial here, so you can control your squad fairly easily and not cry. I feel like the strategy is the peak Pikmin gameplay they set out for when they made the game, so I'm giving it an S tier. The blue Pikmin are an absolute classic, and I'm not just saying that because they are the first Pikmin type on this list. I feel they are the one Pikmin type that has been strong in just about every game, with the only exception being Pikmin 3 underutilizing them a decent bit, mainly due to the fact that they are found so late into the game. There are water worlds, water caves, and they can also save Pikmin from drowning, meaning canonically they're the only Pikmin that has morals. S tier. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the bread bug, but I feel they technically serve a really strong purpose to the Pikmin gameplay loop, which is to scare you and make you anxious as they roam around the premises. Even to this day, I'm always shaking in my frickin' boots over these guys. Ugh. Still, this enemy was sort of ruined in Pikmin 2. You no longer need strategy to kill them. You can just spam your purple Pikmin and win. Now that can be applied to, every enemy in Pikmin 4, but I'll still give them a B. Bulby! Now, if this is your first time hearing about this character, you probably are not alone, unless you're a nerd like me. Bulby is Captain Olimar's dog, who we briefly see a drawing of with his family members in a journal entry. These family members went on to make sort of tangible appearances in the Pikmin 2 letters, but Bulby never came back because the developers hate puppies and ice cream and they have no human decency. I'm giving an S tier to pay my respects for Bulby. Now, with the burrowing Snagret, they aren't necessarily bad, but I really hate having to wait around for their heads to get buried in the ground. It can take a bit too long sometimes since this is RNG dependent, and you're like, how did I just lose a coin flip 5 times in a row? That's not statistically possible. B tier. Now, Captain Olimar, in my opinion, is one of the best Nintendo characters ever written, which might sound weird at a first glance. I mean, he's just a chummy little silly guy, but his journal entries in Pikmin 1 were really something impactful and meaningful, considering his stakes, and he's just ultimately a sort of relatable character. This was only developed further in Pikmin 4, as he sacrificed his own life to save his dog Moss. I mean, who does that? Probably a lot of dog owners, whatever. I will always be an eternal Captain Olimar fan, and I could prove it by showing off this piece of plastic. S tier. Dwarf Bulborb. I say this in every Pikmin video because I am a hack, but these really are the Goombas of the Pikmin franchise. They're a classic and always fun to smush. A tier. Dwarf Bulborb, same sort of thing, so also A. Emperor Bulblax. I know. How could a major boss in the Pikmin franchise be a D tier? JeffCompass, you suck! Well, in Pikmin 1, I find him very finicky to kill, and always lose Pikmin unfairly on this fight. And in 2 and 4, this enemy was just turned into a complete and utter prank. And yes, I called him an enemy and not a boss because he's basically an enemy now. I mean, there's never been a character with such a downfall. Look at this thing. Next up, we have what the game calls, it's not just me being toxic, the game calls this the female shear grub. They do not attack you and pose no real threat to the player. I don't know, you tried coming up with stuff to say about an enemy who doesn't even attack you. B tier. If you've ever visited the Forest Navel, you'll surely be familiar with the fiery blowhog. I actually feel these enemies require require the player to be thinking very strategically here, as you can't leave your red Pikmin with them willy-nilly or they'll go for a murderous swim. They never really reached the highs of this in the later games, but I'll just give them an A for the execution in Pikmin 1. Gulix! Now, this is one of the 3 optional bosses in Pikmin 1. I do feel this boss is very well designed and looks kinda sick, though it being stuck to an optional fight and not yielding all that many good rewards kinda just puts this in C tier category. Next up we have the Honey Wisps. Throw Pikmin, get drugs, and you make profit. B tier. Iridescent flint beetles. I don't know if this is a hot take. I don't know if anyone even has takes about these things in general, but these enemies just irritate me because your Pikmin will cling onto them, which really throws off your efficiency, and they don't yield that many good rewards. Like, ooh, a 1 Pikmin pellet that also grow around me everywhere. C tier. While the female sheer grubs aren't all that offensive, the male sheer grubs do attack the Pikmin and Olimar, but just to be equal, I'll just put them in B tier here. Mamuta, another optional boss, meaning statistically, this is the first time someone has seen one of these things in their life. Well, I don't know. They kind of came back in Pikmin 2 and 4, and they were a lot more relevant there. I don't know. It's super hard to be mad at an enemy that does flower your Pikmin when it attacks them, although that does mean you have to sit there plucking for 5 hours after a fight. B tier. Pearly Clam Clam. Now I'm putting this in S. It's a downright perfect enemy for Pikmin. You have to really balance how many Pikmin you're throwing at the Pearl before retreating. This is the quintessential Pikmin enemy, and I won't take any other excuses. The Puffman. Yeah, I don't know if this really counts as a character. It's more like a evil transformation, but this is what happens if the Puffstool's poison reaches your precious Pikmin, and that is just horrifying. But even though the Puffy Blowhog came back in Pikmin 4, these are never seen again. A tragedy. I can live with the B tier, I just hope you can. Then we have their toxic father, the Puffstool. It's a decent fight, it's a good Pikmin boss, and while we're on the Puffs, Puffy Blowhog, I hate this travesty. They're always placed just to make your life so miserable, and are always in super irritating spots. Gee, that's fair, C tier. Now we have the red Pikmin. It's tough to really choose a perfect ranking here. They're the Pikmin everyone thinks of when thinking of, well, Pikmin, shut up. They were phenomenal in 1, but through the rest of the series sort of lost their usefulness. Although they did regain it in 4 with the pine cone throwing mechanic. They're classics, and I'm gonna scrounge enough praise here just for an A tier. The Shearwig. Now, this enemy was coded purely to be annoying. These are sheer grubs that fly, and are always placed in the worst possible locations, like by the goddamn bridges. The game purposely programs you to hate them, so I guess I'm just gonna put them in D. Smoky Prog, the 3rd of the optional bosses, and by far the hardest Pikmin enemy, possibly ever. Well, until that game. It's a classic and sort of a genius optional boss with a fantastic reward. Everyone, I think, has a really good memory of this, not in terms of playing the game, but in terms of trauma. S tier. Spotty Bulborb goes into A. I really love the strategizing these creatures require from the player. Gathering your squad, going in for the attack, it's just so gratifying. And I won't hold the crushing glitch against this enemy, since that is the developer's fault. Miyamoto personally coded that. Swooping Snitchbug. I hate this beast, and you do too. I'm gaslighting you and telling you that you do as well. It grabs your Pikmin and makes you pluck them after, becoming a massive time waster in a game that's already timed. I'm putting this in F tier because, again, the game is basically just encouraging you to hate them anyways. Water Dumples. Apparently these are relatives of the Bulborb. Sure, and I'm a relative of Moses. I can't defeat these damn fools in 1 without losing like 5 Pikmin, and they're just always in clusters. C tier. Yellow Pikmin. Their usefulness in the series, again, ranges from useless to downright goated. That's what hip people say, I think. They are immune to electricity, which was first introduced in 2, but the developers did get quite a bit of mileage for that. Besides that, they can be thrown higher from the others. Except for Pikmin 2, I think they're one of the more useless types throughout the series, so I'm just gonna give them a B tier. I'm sure I'm pissing off a lot of people, but when am I not, you know? The normal Wally Hop doesn't bother me too much. For the same logic as the Pearly Clam Clam, I feel like they make you time your throws very smartly. I'll give them an A, but the yellow Wally Hops really piss me off because they have such a stupidly high defense level for no reason, and fighting everyone honestly takes like a minute, so they get a C. Pikmin 2. I could say a lot about this game, but one day I would like to re-review it just like I did for 1, so I'll do something rare and hold back my words for now. I don't know, if you'd like to see this video, like, just let me know in the comments. Maybe I'll move it up the queue a bit of videos that take 10 billion years to come out. Anode beetle. They scavenge the floors en masse, rub their love in your damn face, and are a complete chore to avoid. C tier. The Anode Dweevil are insta-kill in Pikmin 2, so you can't screw around with these complete tools like you maybe could for the fire or water ones. The lack of offensiveness, though, grants this stone-cold killer a B tier. Now, the armored cannon larva can be fairly annoying. They shoot boulders in a direct path, so they can be a bit finicky to avoid, and you can't use their boulders strategically like the spotted armored cannon larva. That is so hard to say, but due to its predictability, B tier. Now, I actually really despise the antenna beetle. They dirty up your treasure radar, fall, and then run away like a coward, making them a bastard and a third to kill. D tier. Boltman. Now, you know for a fact I was gonna give them S tier before you even clicked on this video, and if not, you don't know me, welcome to the channel. They are precious and beautiful, and if they're not in Pikmin 5, I'm not buying it. It was a miracle I still went through with my Pikmin 4 purchase. Bulborb larva. I feel bad roasting essentially, babies, but they are so irritating and chew Olimar and Louie beyond belief, making the second fight with the Empress Bulblax a nightmare. I'm giving a C tier, and that's me being generous, believe it or not. The bumbling snitch bug. I wasn't a fan of the swooping snitch bug at all, and he's grab your captain, so congrats, you get an F, and you get an F. The careening Darigi bug. Now, I almost feel like this is a good enemy, but the fact that these guys show up in groups really just makes them a nuisance and really difficult to strategize around, and people, including some guy named JeffCompass, associate sheer freaking trauma with them. C tier. You guys tried, but it wasn't good enough. The caustic Dweevil is just another elemental spider, but these only spew water on your Pikmin, which you can whistle off fairly quickly. I don't know, B tier. The cloaking Burrownet is actually a really decent enemy idea, since you do have to do, what's this word on the genre section of the Pikmin Wikipedia page? Let me zoom in, my glasses. Oh yeah, strategy. You need actual strategy to beat them. They're never overly annoying, and if you lose Pikmin to them, it's your fault. Skill issue. A tier. Now the creeping chrysanthemum. This is a perfect Pikmin enemy. Just exceptionally smart, and I feel like every Pikmin 2 player has a story to share with their first interaction with it. It's something so memorable and, I don't know, kind of crazy. I think this deserves an S tier. As I was alluding to earlier, I prefer the decorated cannon beetles a crap ton more than the armored ones. You can actually use the boulders of these to attack the other ones and other enemies. Intended or not, it's a pretty cute mechanic. A tier. The doodlebug is a poisonous version of the iridescent flint beetle. They do provide fairly solid rewards in the forms of sprays at least, so I'm giving a very reluctant C tier since they're worth targeting a bit more than the others. The dwarf orange bulborb is another small bulborb with no visible changes. It's amazing I've even written this much. B tier. And now the Empress Bulblax. This boss shows up like 6 times between Pikmin 2 and 4, and to the developers' credit, they usually come up with some cute ideas to make each one of these fights a different beast. Get it? Beast. And she's better than her toxic husband, that's for sure. I don't know, B tier. I actually really love the design of the fiery Bulblax, and the enemy is a good idea. You can still definitely use the purple Pikmin to cheese them, but this was a great enemy concept to give red Pikmin a bit more of a purpose. I feel like this is one of the best creations in Pikmin 2. Easy S tier. Fiery Dweevil. Yeah, same story as the caustic Dweevil. Literally, it's the exact same story, just fire. B tier. Gatling Groink. Now this enemy really just pisses me off. Some of these guys are just in the worst spots possible. I don't know if that should count against the enemy, but it's my video, so I'm factoring it in. The Gatling Groink community is free to write me a letter, but I'm tired of having a heart attack every time I play Pikmin 2, so C tier. The giant bread bug is a pretty unique boss in a game that struggles with repetition sometimes, and I feel like he and his just cave in general is one of the most memorable moments in Pikmin history in general, and that's kind of rare in Pikmin 2 to have those special moments, so we'll just go A. The greater spotted jellyfloat and the lesser spotted jellyfloat will both go in A. The graphics in Pikmin 2 are pretty, and that's all it really takes to please me. Hairy Bulborb is definitely a Bulborb, but now with the graphical flexing, ooh, Nintendo is so cool, blah blah blah, A tier. We also have the Hermit Crumad. He flings outwards and gives you a brief window to attack. Pretty strategic enemy, A tier. Iridescent Glint Beetle, another annoying ass iridescent Flint Beetle clone, but it's shiny and it gives you shiny treasures, B tier. Next we have Louie, and well, I know I can't get away with just writing a one sentence on this character. Louie's a tough cookie to rank, honestly. We all know he's fucking evil, but without him, Pikmin 2 and a third of Pikmin 4 would have never happened. And I don't know about you, but I kind of sorta maybe like those games. He's a very unique character, eating bugs, and is just so socially awkward. Whether or not you like him, I think he's a great contrast to Olimar, and is at least a very clever idea for a character. Balancing out the pros and cons, I'll give him a B, but I wouldn't be surprised if people are mad at me in both directions for that one. I can't please everyone. Now Louie's grandma though, she's kind of a sweet old lady who cares about her grandson. It's heartbreaking to see her be like, you haven't emailed me, you damn sonny boy. I don't know, I'm gonna go S tier. I can't help it, she's just chaotic good. Man at legs. Okay, now this is a downright wild idea for a Pikmin boss. There's really nothing else like it in this franchise or any Nintendo franchise, being a gun-wielding spider, and I'm sure there's like some commentary you can make on this and blah 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 blah, but I feel like this maniac boss is just perfect. He's not super easy to cheese, and you genuinely have to think strategically to win. A high point of Pikmin 2 in my opinion. S tier. Matite. Now, if you don't know what these things are, consider yourself lucky. These little creeps come out of eggs with a 5% chance of being hidden. The concept may be charming once, but annoying when it happens to you 500 times in a playthrough, so you could probably rank this depending on your luck. C tier. Munch Dweevil. It is another Dweevil. C tier. Almer's daughter and son both go in F tier. What a bunch of lazy shitheads, gifting the exact present in both the Pikmin 1 and Pikmin 4 timelines. Like, oh, you guys really could not coordinate and come up with a better idea for a present? It's the same freaking thing. Also, what the hell is that beanie? Olimar's wife. Okay, well, it's kind of disturbing that she's just literally Olimar with eyelashes. I guess Olimar has a type, and that type is himself. A tier. Orange Bulborb is another Bulborb, with the only difference being these wake up a crap ton easier. Whatever, I'm out of dams to give. Maybe like 10 minutes ago I would have given this like a D, but I'm just gonna give this an A. The Pileated Snagret is an okay idea. Basically just a burrowing Snagret with increased defense, and he hops around on 1 foot. Classic Pikmin enemy, but unoffensively, marginally better. Does that make sense? B. Now we get to a good one. No. A great one. The President. Now this is one of my favorite Pikmin characters, and hell, video game characters. It's a serious crime he never came back for another game, minus some cameos. He's a fantastic parody of dickweed bosses. He has a car horn as a whistle. I mean, what's not to like here? S tier. President's wife. Oh my god. F tier. You know she would be hitting up the manager of a 7-Eleven complaining her 5-cent coupon didn't go through. Purple Pikmin. You know, I feel bad for doing this, but I have to go D tier here. I acknowledge that's a pretty loaded take, but you have to keep in mind the developers didn't really balance these Pikmin well at all, and it makes some parts of Pikmin 2 and to some degree 4 completely broken to this day. Not to mention both 2 and 4 require you to grind to over 100 in the course of your playthrough, which is really tedious since the game doesn't give you enough candy pop buds naturally, so you gotta go grind. The carrying power of 10 at least makes them a good use in Pikmin 3 and 4's challenge modes, but yeah, I don't know, D. Raging Longlegs. It's scary, giant, and a monstrous design. It's a pretty challenging fight at the end of the longest cave in the entire game, and I feel like 90% of players never saw this thing. A tier. Unfortunately though, I don't have praise for the Raging Bloister. This is bar none one of my least favorite Pikmin bosses in the entire franchise. To even get a window to attack this mess of a creature, you need to constantly swap between captains, which just makes this fight disorienting. The boss just doesn't feel that well thought out, and I'm just gonna go F, because there's really not anything I enjoy from the 2 times you are forced to fight it. The Ravenous Whisker Pillars eat your berries, which I really hate, not because of the idea, but because it often means I end up getting 8 or 9 berries from a harvest. Good design though, so C tier. The Segmented Cropster is another not very well thought out boss. The only way to avoid his attacks is to hide in a corner like a complete coward, and generally speaking, they're just not a very fun boss to deal with and not very creative. D tier. Skitterleafs are harmless, little leaves hiding in the ground. I don't know, like how do you rank a leaf? C tier. Toady Bloister are the babies of the Raging Bloister, and thankfully these ones are nowhere near as bad, because they're too easy. C tier. Ugandi, I don't know. You don't know either, don't judge me. Now if you're staring at the screen and are just like, what the hell is this? This is by far the most elusive and mysterious Pikmin enemy in the entire franchise. I might talk about this at a different time, but they basically appear on days 31, 61, 91, and so on at the Wistful Wild. Upon finding them in mass, you can attack them to receive a bunch of sprays. Really cool idea, and an Easter egg, I guess, that is ultimately super charming. S tier. Unmarked spectralids, also known as butterflies. They're just butterflies. B. The volatile dweevil. Their whole life mission is to try to explode and kill you, only to disappear into a pixelated soul forever. That being said, they can be super annoying and unfair, as seen in this clip that I use in literally every Pikmin video I do. F tier. The water wraith. This boss is frustrating, scary, and anxiety-provoking, and I goddamn love it. As you probably all know, as a result of our trauma bond, they hunt the floors of the submerged cavern after a few minutes, mowing down everything and anything in his path. The submerged cavern is by far one of the most memorable moments in Pikmin history, and as a result, he even returned in Pikmin 4 just to traumatize more children. S tier. Watery blowhog. Another elemental variation of an enemy, but they aren't used anywhere nearly as cleverly as the fiery blowhogs were in 1, and they just kind of exist. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if most Pikmin fans forgot they even were in the game. B tier. White Pikmin. Pivoting from my negative stance on the purple ones, I actually really like this Pikmin type. They were moderately useful in 2, and in 4 they ended up being one of the most prominent Pikmin types in the entire game, which caught me off guard. S tier. Withering Blowhog. It is a puffy blowhog, but cuter. I mean, still a pain in the ass, but B tier.
Hello, it is Jeff from the editing room. So there were like 4 characters that somehow in my script I had like the images for, but they just didn't make it into my writing for some reason, and I didn't catch this until right now when I'm editing the video. So we're just gonna do a quick fire round. They're not in the actual tier list. Sorry. Snow Bulborbs, B tier. The spammer, I'm gonna put them in F tier. Spammers are not cool. Don't spam in the comments. And of course there's the ship, who I'm gonna put in S tier because S stands for ship. And 2 more for you. The Titan Dweevil, I'm putting in F because I actually really don't like this fight. It takes too long and it's not very intuitive. And then there's the Wolpole. Those grow up to be woolly hops and I hate them. And so that's also an F tier. I can tell I'm feeling generous today.
So we got Pikmin 1, Pikmin 2. As numbers learned in kindergarten might dictate, you might be thinking it's time for Pikmin 3. And that's what I also was thinking in 2012, but I was wrong. I swear to God, I've talked about the history of the Wii U so many times on this channel that they're gonna lock me up in a goddamn insane asylum. The Wii U released on November 18th in 2012. When people don't know your new console is a new console, it's a bit of a marketing disaster. In terms of the games, people always say this console had a horrible launch lineup, and it surely wasn't the best, but I don't agree with those saying it was abysmal or anything. One of the launch games was a scrappy little title known as Nintendo Land, a Nintendo-based theme park simulation that included many Nintendo properties, including ones no one cared about, like whatever this is. It's been over 10 years since I last played it, but I admittedly had a pretty good time with it. One of the theme parks in Nintendo Land was Pikmin Adventure. Now, does this count as a Pikmin game? I mean, I don't know, probably not, but we need content. You're welcome. And I'll say for the record, I'd like to do a full review of this game, but Wii U's are very expensive, so for now, this is all we got. Now, since I played this last, like 11 years ago, I'm going purely off of the visuals here. Sorry, but I thought that was better than not including them, period. Firstly is the Billiest Bulborb. It is another Bulborb. I mean, we've come so far, but really we've achieved nothing. A tier. The Bladed Beeb has a super interesting design. The googly eyes, the axe as his hands, and I kind of wish it made it over to an actual Pikmin game. A. Bombardier Beeb throws spike balls on his hands. Now that's metal. I mean, literally. A. Bulborbed. Basically just an Empress Bulblax, it seems like. I mean, he sure seems mad. I'd be too if I was trapped on a console that no one bought. B. The Creepy Beeb. I don't know what's so creepy about this, but I stared into its soul and it died, so C tier. The Emperor Pinchapede sort of reminds me of the armored Maudad we would later see in Pikmin 3. Was this foreshadowing? Maybe, probably not. B tier. The Grand Bulboard I'm also putting in B tier. I mean, I don't know what's so grand about it. I mean, I guess being green. Well, the Green Bulborb isn't so grand, so there goes that theory. Also B. The Greater Studded Beeb. Wait, this is the same exact goddamn thing as the Bombardier Beeb. I guess it's just greater. So S tier. I mean, you earned it, buddy. You earned it. Largemouth Wallyhop. I mean, oh my god, that's just horrifying, honestly. Like, doesn't that make you want to curl up into a ball and just Cry, D tier. Manita. Now, okay, you probably should make an argument that this shouldn't count as a character, but since her words do appear and she's the host, I'm including her on technicality. That being said, I can't help but feel bad for her. I mean, she had some potential as the host of the Wii U, but then Nintendo realized the Wii U sold 3 copies, and she had to fall victim to A tier for sympathy. Monochromatic Pinchapede, also B. I mean, that at least would fit well on a Game Boy. The telescoping plum hog, you know what, that's just cool, A tier. And the translucent Wally Hop. I kinda like them more than the regular Wally Hop. I've always had a soft spot for the translucent designs, like those third-party controllers that appeared out of thin air during our childhoods that we always gave to our younger brothers, A tier. And finally, the yellow Bulborb. Okay, funny enough, a yellow Bulborb was actually in some demo footage for Pikmin 2, so maybe you could argue this is a throwback, but I'm sure it's just a goofy coincidence. Okay, I'll give them an A under the idea that this is some cheeky reference, but if it later comes out that this wasn't, we're moving him to C tier. Now, wasn't that cool? Doesn't that make you want to sit down and just play the Wii U? I can't say it and actually sound like I believe it at the same time. Pikmin 3 kind of removed Olimar and Louie from the Pikmin series for like 7 years. Instead, meet Alf. Now, I gotta be honest, I've never really cared for the main protagonists of Pikmin 3 all that much. Maybe I'm just on fun, maybe I just don't like change, but I gotta speak true to my feelings. Alf has always come off as a boring, generic captain to me, and I can't even call him an Olimar clone because he's just so uninteresting, so I guess C is fair. Arachnode. Admittedly, this enemy is pretty uninspired as far as Pikmin enemies go. It's just a spider with a very boring name too. C. Pikmin 3, not off to a good start. Well, time for some much needed positivity. Here's the Arctic Cannon Larva. I like these guys a lot because they are just sort of fun. They don't kill your Pikmin, they just shoot snowballs at them and make them fall down a hill. So they are at least a bit annoying, but I don't know, I implore you to learn to enjoy your life. A tier. Our first boss is the aforementioned Armored Maudad, teaching the players how to use their rock Pikmin, and it's a very chaotic boss fight. One of the better ones in Pikmin 3. At least you can finish this in an in-game day. A tier. The baldy Longlegs just sounds like something Sonic the Hedgehog would call Dr. Eggman. It is basically just another beady Longlegs. I don't know, is there something you wanted me to say about this? Was I supposed to go into some lore, some childhood story? Well, I don't got any, so chill. B. The Bearded Amprat is a brand new electric enemy to the Pikmin franchise, which feels pretty rare in this series. Usually we just get fire and water enemies, so I feel like this is a welcome addition. He's so cute, except for the part that he eats your Pikmin alive. Aww. A tier. Brittany is probably the best out of the 3 captains. She has a distinct personality, being the nerdy girl, and I at least get a feel of what they were going for here. I'll go B tier for Brittany. Hysterical punnery. They don't call me the Shakespeare of our times for nothing. They don't call me it at all. The Bug-Eyed Crawmad is less of an enemy and more of a mini-boss almost. Give it pink eye, attack the Jelly Belly, A tier. Now I actually sort of appreciate the calcified Crushblat. They throw projectiles in the air, giving you a good reason to use a rock Pikmin, and are actually somewhat challenging to fight, mimicking the difficulty of Pikmin 1 again. A. Charlie. Well, I give Brittany a B, so Charlie has to just get a C. I just have to be consistent. Ignore Alf and everything else. The Desiccated Skitterleaf is just a Skitterleaf that actually kills, which is an improvement from being as boring as a leaf, so A. Now we have the Joustmite, which seems incredibly similar to the Cloaking Burrownet. It's technically different despite being the same enemy, so whatever. I'll just be consistent. I'll give it an A. The Flighty Joustmite is a representative for the winged Pikmin gamers in the chat. A, I don't know what that line even means, but whatever. Medusal Slurker, that's just disgusting. B. The Mysterious Life Form. Now, to those who watched my dog shit Pikmin 3 video made a billion years ago, I've made it very clear that I'm really not a fan of the sequence at the end of Pikmin 3, where you go through a tree carrying Olimar. I always have found it criminally unfun and kind of buggy, honestly. I don't know. If I do a re-review of Pikmin 3, we'll talk about it more, but for now, I'm giving it a D tier for those reasons. The Nectarous Dandlefly. This enemy was purely made so the average IGN reviewer just goes, oh my god, Pikmin 3 is such a pretty game. I mean, it worked, so B tier. Peckish Aristocrab. I don't know if this is a reference to the crab meme, but it kind of reminds me of that. C tier. Phosphat Pod. The first enemy that I don't know if it should even really count as an enemy. D tier. The enemies that they do yield are adorable though, so S tier. The duality of mankind. Now for all the crap I give Pikmin 3, I will say the plasma Plasm Wraith is the best final boss in the series. It's creative, fascinating in terms of lore, and a really smart way to incorporate the elements of your 5 Pikmin types. It's genuinely not just a clever boss for Pikmin, but just for Nintendo games in general. And so while I think the sequence to get here is one of the lowest points in the franchise, this fight is just the opposite. S tier. Puckering Blino. I hate these things because I always confuse them for a Whirlpool, thinking they're just so innocent and cutesy, and then they chomp my Pikmin like Cheez-Its. C tier. Pyroclasmic Slooch. Cute enemy idea, and I respect the attempt to add some fire enemies, but like, that name took me like 5 tries to say. They're still useless, but I respect the attempt, so A tier. Quaggled Meyerclops. Now, I know, this is gonna make some people mad, but the giant bosses in Pikmin 3 just kind of frustrate me. I don't mind them as a concept, but the issue is the daytime limit really means it might take me up to 2 days to finish a fight, and this fight is genuinely pretty hard too. Now, I don't mind the challenge, but I find the Quaggle and Meyerclops pretty unfun and not really viable to attack strategically like the first spider boss in the franchise. C tier. Now, in my opinion, the rock Pikmin are basically purple Pikmin done right, and I think the game developers purposely made them with that in mind. They have more of an initial attack buff, but aren't overpowered at all, and actually have functions on the field besides just being stronger. A tier. Sand belching Mearslug to me is at least more well done than the Quaggle Meyerclops. I don't find this fight overly difficult. It feels a little more balanced and better designed rather than just getting stomped to death. Still takes me up to 2 days to beat it though, depending on when I start it, so B tier. Similarly, the Scornet Maestro. I hate the climb to get to this beast, but the actual fight's pretty good. But going with the Mario ranking videos rule, the B's go to B. Same with this clown. Shaggy long legs are very annoying to fight. The Pikmin need to climb their legs to remove their hair, and it's just kind of nasty, honestly. D tier. The Skeet Skate. I don't know why, but these are super satisfying to kill, like blowing up a gusher. A tier. Scutterchucks are baby's first rock Pikmin hazard, clearly uninspired, but they do have a purpose to the game at least, so A tier. The Sputtlefish aren't that great in Pikmin 3, but are more of a prominent enemy in 4, so A. The Swarming Sheargrub is fairly uncreative, and I don't understand the point of this enemy, maybe you do. C. The Behemoth Phosphat is a pretty interesting idea for Pikmin, basically requiring the player to go around and light up bulbs in a cave instead of just, fighting. It's unique and different, and less of a traditional boss fight, so I'm comfortable with an A tier. The Waddlepuss is just, well, it's funny, come on, it's called a Waddlepuss. A. We then have the Whip-Tongue Bulborb, which is a pretty cute Bulborb edition, and I believe it's the only new one in this game, so I appreciate they did anything to make the species more unique this time around, so A tier. Winged Pikmin. I really love them in Pikmin 3, where they are super prominent and cleverly implemented, and then they were completely shoehorned into 4, where they barely matter. Between the two, I'll just give them a B tier. Hey, Pikmin. Okay, I don't think I've actually beaten this game. The one time I tried to play it, I got so bored with it that I just actually stopped and I kind of gave up on writing the review for it. But I'm going to try to rank these things anyways because I don't really want to play it. Adult Centipare. I guess it's shaped like a W, so A. Armork. Looks like someone smashed an aardvark and painted stripes on them. B tier. Berserk Leech Hydro. Okay, now look, this is cool as shit. Like, way too cool for a Pikmin game trapped on the 3DS. S tier. The Blub Bug. What? C tier. The Centipare is a really boring and uninspired enemy. They really thought making a dragonfly with a color slop was meeting the bar just enough to be creative. The only bar that this one will meet you at is one where you're drinking alcohol to forget it exists. D tier. The Clicking Slurker reminds me of the Medusal Slurker from Pikmin 3. The eyes are funny though, they look like a stretched out Pikmin. A tier. Copeller. Another totally inspired enemy. It's got that, hey, Pikmin Crust. D tier. The Crammed Wraith. Okay, what the hell is this? Is it just me or there's something like really off-putting about this? Maybe it's like the pink spotted arms. I don't know. D tier. Crested Makiwi. This is kind of a funny side note that I don't know if we'll make it into this video, but Ramato, who is helping me check out the script and actually helped me with the footage of ranking the Pikmin, he left a note being like, crested? Yes, it's called the Crested Makiwi. I know, it's stupid. Whatever. Purple bird with a pink mohawk. Yep, that's such a common, iconic Pikmin enemy. D tier. Crumbug. Okay, now that's just adorable, A tier. The Crystalline Crushblat. Pretty sure this is just the same enemy from Pikmin 3, but they changed the translucent texture because they couldn't get it to work on the 3DS. B tier. The Electric Cottonade looks like a rejected Pokemon, so A tier. It's better than most of the ones in Scarlet and Violet. I'm gonna get shit for saying that. The Electric Spectralid, though, looks really cool. I swear, the enemies in Hey Pikmin are anywhere between uninspired dog crap to some of the best designs in the series. A tier. I'm sorry to the 3 Electropede fans, but I have nothing to say about this. It's very generic, and if I have to point out something is generic, it's an automatic C. The elongated Crushblat goes again into the what the fuck is this territory. The rule is if you can't imagine them being in Pikmin 1 or maybe 2, it doesn't fit. F tier. Eye Stalker Bulbeel also follows the same rule. Fiery Blowlet, also very adorable. I do like this trend of the baby enemies. It's a cute idea. A tier for this, the Fiery Dwarf Bulborb, and the Young Yellow Wollyhop. And of course, we could forget the Fiery Young Yellow Wollyhop, the most recognizable Pikmin enemy. It rolls off of your tongue. S tier. Fire Flap Bulborb. This kind of goes hard. S tier. Okay, so the next one, the Pikmin Wiki labels as the Fire Flinger Groink. B tier, whatever. Fire Snout Beetle goes in B, and the Flatterchuck. Come on, what the hell is this? It's just like a vomit-colored surfboard. B tier. Grab it. I know where these developers can grab it. I should not have said that. D tier. Large Splurchin. I don't know if this counts as an enemy, but since Pikmin has barely anything compared to Mario, we are stretching the goddamn skies for content. Doesn't mean I won't give it an F tier though. Leech Hydro. I know. I've been pretty harsh on this game, but I can't help but smile at this ball of goo. I still have a little bit of a heart, you know? B tier. Long Water Dumple. You cruel game developers. F tier. We have the Luring Slurker. I guess this is a clicking Slurker's baby or some weird stepchild. I don't know. Okay, just put it in C. My Kiwis are adorable, and I'm sad this game failed because I would have wanted a plushie of this though. S tier. The Muggenfly. It is another dragonfly because there just weren't enough for this game to get good reviews. D tier. Puffstock. Don't want to study this pile of crap. F. Puffy Blublug. A moldy, rotten blue orange. Sure. F tier. Queen Shearwig. Well, as the saying goes, I am a sucker for a good Shearwig clone. B. The Red Bublimp. A red nucleus inside of a bubble. It's cute. I'm a shill. I'm a YouTuber. 2 out of the 3 things above are true. F tier. Seedbagger. Well, better than being a teabagger. B tier. Shearblug. Was this necessary? I just used the goddamn shear grubs. D tier. The Shooting Spinner female and male enemies. They look like that one enemy from TTYD. I don't know, there's spiders. B tier. Barrowhead. A yellow ball with wings above its head. It's too generic to say anything else of note. C. Spear Grub. Well, I'm a sucker for a good pun, as you all know from the Mario ranking video or any of my videos, really. A tier. Spore Grub. A tier. Spiny Capeller. You know, maybe there's an actual answer to this, but what's with all this like purple and pink enemies in this game? Nothing against the colors, it's just so weird compared to like Pikmin 1. I don't know, I've had enough, and I'm taking it out on this. F tier. Spornet. Now at a first glance, you might think it's a Scornet, but it's a Spornet. A. Starnacle. This looks like something you'd see in SpongeBob and not a real Pikmin enemy. D tier. The Stony Flint Beetle. Nice multi-jointed legs with tiny hands. Also C. Stuffed Bellbloom. A mutant lemon. B tier. Widemouth Anode Beetle. So they took a previous Pikmin enemy and added a mouth. I mean, S tier, come on people. Pikmin 4, because I haven't talked enough about this game. I could sit here and say I glossed over a lot of the enemies and characters in preparation for this inevitable video, but that's kind of not true. But content creators never lie. Ever. Albino Dwarf Bulborb. I don't know. It's kind of like the middle between the poopy Bulborbs and the normal ones, but I'm just not a fan of this. It's just gross. D tier. Alpine. He's a CEO of a tech company. I don't know, F tier. The Ancient Sirehound was a pretty decent boss, all things considered. I had a lot of fun with it, though as I said in my video, I lost all my Pikmin to it a few times. I think my biggest issue with this fight is that it's an elemental boss, but they don't prep you enough with candy pop buds before you fight it. So I only had like 5 of certain Pikmin types. It does feel like a better version of Pikmin 2's final boss though. I'm gonna barely squeeze this up to an A due to the epic music that plays during the fight as well. Aristocrab Offspring. I feel like I reviewed this enemy before. How do you count as something new? B tier. Ice Armored Cannon Beetle. I do like this trend of bringing back old enemies. Now, you could say this just taps right into my nostalgia bone, and Nintendo is winning shameless points. And you're probably right, but I'm an established Pikmin shill, so A tier. Bo? Probably just Bo, right? It's just a television actor, so I'm just gonna put him in C. Bernice is a fortune teller, and to be honest, I know someone is gonna write me some long-winded comment about how I'm a hack, but I personally feel like the art of fortune telling is just not real. D tier. Blizzarding Blowhog. Another clone, but it does make sense for the purposes of the game, so we're going B tier for this boy. The Blue Cap Bloister feels like an AI-generated Pikmin enemy. C tier. I'm gonna give the Bog Swallow a B. I don't think it's a bad enemy or anything, but personally, I felt like the whole mud aspect of Pikmin 4 was just kind of shoehorned in. Boris. Okay, if someone's named Boris in the chat, don't kill me, but their name is literally Boris, F tier. Chewy. How much do your parents have to hate you for you to be named Chewy? I'm trying here. I'm really trying. But look at the Pikmin wiki. How the hell do I even talk about some of these characters? C. Chili Hop. I guess I don't really get why this enemy exists. I would assume the purpose is just to limit what sort of Pikmin you could use to attack or venture with on a particular floor. It does look nice, so I'll scrounge up enough hope for this pitiful soul for a B tier. Chowder. Don't remind me of what we've lost. You know what? I'm thinking too much of the show now, which I enjoyed, so I'm giving an A tier. It's my video, don't judge me. Colin. He reminds me of the guy from Saw and talks way too much throughout the main story, being the Navi of this franchise, but honestly even worse, so I'm giving him a D tier. Sorry to all the Colin fans out there, if they exist at all. Corgwin. This guy lets you replay the Dandori battle, so an essential function of the game. Granted, I never cared that much for it, so B. Creeping Chrysanthemum. Now this sounds sort of weird, right? Like we already looked at this character in Pikmin 2. Well, this is a rare moment where a design is in fact so different between games that I'm actually just gonna put this on this list twice. And I'm giving it an S tier because this got me on so many occasions, more than it did in Pikmin 2. It's just continuously a great enemy. Crusted Repump. Rumpup. Look at this thing and tell me what the fuck it's supposed to be. These look like what I imagine roams around Florida on a day-to-day basis. C tier. Delmo, an animal enthusiast. I mean, I do love animals. A tier. I'm the Dash. That's a reference no one will get. What the hell am I supposed to do with the information that Dash is a professional spelunker? D tier. So Dingo is one of the main captains in Pikmin 4, being part of the rescue corps. But when I think of the team, he's probably one of the least memorable to me. As I think C is fair. The Downy Snag. Okay, that's freaking adorable, S tier. I do appreciate with the Dwarf Frosty Bulborb that they didn't just repeat a Bulborb with a pure skin like they do with most Bulborbs, and these rocks actually do make them impervious to the non-ice Pikmin. Good enemy, so A, and same with their adult counterpart. Fox. I'm not allowed to say that on YouTube. I don't think. F tier. I do appreciate the Fulix. Obviously, this is a throwback to the optional boss, Gulix, which is in itself a great deep cut reference. I'm giving this an A tier, even though the fight was piss easy. Francois? This is another NPC that I have nothing to say about, but, you know, as a fellow long-haired person, I'm giving them a B. We have to stick together. The Freeze Cake is a fairly decent enemy, bringing back the mechanic of timing your Pikmin throws and whistling them back, like with the Burly Clam Clams and original Wally Hubs. It brings back the spirit of Pikmin in a solid way, so I'll give them an A. Fries. Please stop making me rank these characters. This video is a damn mistake. I don't know, S. Is that what you want to hear from me? The Guildmander is a decent enough boss. It's one of the only ones that you can't kill with a simple charge, requiring you to knock off its gold to open the weak spots with Ochi. And they are actually fairly difficult, but used a bit too often in the game for my liking. Going with a B for this and the Guildmandoe. Sure. Glow Pikmin. The night mode in Pikmin 4 was an aspect I praised pretty damn heavily in my review of the game, and I wish there was more of it. Being that the Glow Pikmin represent that mode, and these are kind of the spiritual successor to the Bulbmin, I'll give them an S tier overall. I feel bad for Grace, since the Pikmin wiki calls her a nomad, meaning she's homeless. I looked it up, and like, it's just sad. Hopefully a home in A tier makes her happier. We have to be the change we want to see in the world. I really appreciated the groovy Longlegs boss fight. This boss was chaotic, it was bullshit, everything you can think of, and maybe Pikmin 3 I would have given this like a C, but in this game, it was a more than welcome change since Pikmin 4 in general is way too easy. S tier. I really like the Grub Chucker for a similar reason. This enemy actually wasn't a pushover, and I felt like the developers used this enemy in a pretty clever fashion most of the time, and also felt like a genuine smart original enemy. S tier. Horatio. Don't give me those angry eyes. B tier. The Horned Cannon Beetle. Okay, well, it is a cannon beetle with a horn. I mean, I'll give the game developers some credit for not lying. B. Ice Pikmin. I spoke a lot of praise for these little guys. It was very clear Nintendo wanted this to be a big selling point of Pikmin 4, which of course makes complete sense given that you know people need to buy the game. I love their functions, their movesets, and the design. Great Pikmin. I mean, one of my favorites. S tier. The Ice Blown Tweevil and the Icy Blowhog we knew would be inevitable. Well, maybe not the Icy Blowhog, but I'm lumping them both to B tiers. They don't do anything special. Jin. Dandori Challenge replays. Now that is what I'm talking about. A whole ass mode from Pikmin 3 essentially. This guy is, as the cool kids say, based AF. But he's not getting an A or an F. He's getting an S tier. Jumbo Bulborb. Given how easy this game is, these enemies are what the big Bulborbs in Pikmin 1 and 2 were to Pikmin 4. Does that make any sense? I don't know, we're like an hour into this video. A tier. Kaya? C tier. Kaze. There's a Z there and he wants you to know it. Kaze is a real estate agent and the housing market is so bad right now that I entirely blame him. Thanks, Kaze. C tier. Quiche. Her glasses look blended into her face like a texture. B tier. Kingsley gives you unlimited quests to grow Pikmin, meaning you can never truly 100% this game, which makes me mad, so C tier. Kit, B tier. Como, B tier. Lappy, B tier. This section of the video is clearly inspired. Main character. Yes, that's her name. Now, you may think that this character is a bit weird to rank. After all, she's not really in the game since there's an avatar creator. However, she was a prominent character in the Pikmin 4 comics. I love these comics. I actually don't remember if I talked about these in my video, but I've been thinking about making a video once they're all out. They're all well drawn, and as of writing this video, they still continue to this day. But yeah, she's in it, and I'm giving her an S tier as a result of how well drawn these comics are and how much character she was given. Speaking of the comics, as of June 2024, when this video is recorded, that line is outdated. There's one character exclusive to the comics, this pink dog. S. Like, at this point, you could present me a pile of poo with eyes on it. I'd be like, yeah, sure, that's true. Mama Sheargrub and Master Hops, for similar reasons as the Jumbo Bulborbs, are going in A tier. The Mammoth Snoot Whacker. Still blown away that this is a real name for a real Pikmin enemy. It sounds like a damn prank. Good enemy. A tier. B tier for the Mini Snoot Whacker, though, since the name has less of a ring to it. Micah. Giving her an S tier because I look into those eyes and I relate heavily. I feel you. The Moldy Dwarf Bulborb. F tier. That is the grossest thing I've ever seen. The Moldy Slooch is at least sort of justified since it's a slug, so it's allowed to be gross. D. Molly. She's a content creator who pranks Pikmin for laughs. Content creators are just so cringe, so I gotta give her a D tier. God. Moss. Yeah, fuck it. F tier. She knows what she's done. Mucker's Skate, I'm giving a C tier. Again, not a fan of the whole mud mechanic, and they are just pretty damn annoying, and another clone. Muggs is a space broadcast reporter, meaning if I don't give her an A tier, she may take me down in a takedown piece on the news. Now, Ochi, I'm gonna give a B tier. This may be a bit controversial since he's so cute, but if we think about what he's contributed to the series, he does present a lot of a problem in Pikmin 4, which is that it's so damn easy, and I've even seen some videos on the topic that I'll put on screen right now. I feel like he's a mainstay of the franchise from here though, and will probably be in the next Smash or something. I like the design enough, and I think it was a good idea, so I am fine with B tier. Watch my Pikmin 4 video if you'd like to hear more. Osa specializes in archaeology. Pretty neat hobby. A tier. Patch is a horrible name. Like, what do you mean patch? Like a nicotine patch? C tier. Pitunia is the first attempt to make a pun in a while, so the breath of fresh air will put her in A tier. The Porquillian is actually a pretty difficult enemy, with the spikes raining down, often killing your Pikmin beyond belief unless you have rock Pikmin. For similar reasons as the groovy long legs, A tier. Prickle Puff I might have more of a preference for if the L targeting in this game wasn't automatic, as they always sneak up on me and I can barely see them due to the water. C tier, and the same for the puckering Blino. Puddle. I mean seriously, their name is Puddle, S tier. Ren is studying flavor profiles, making me wish I went to college to study whatever that is, B tier. Russ is one of my favorite additions to Pikmin 4. Not because of his shop, I didn't really care much for that or the improvements, but because he's so damn goofy and funny, so S tier. The Sage presents to you 10 of the best levels in Pikmin history, in my opinion, with lots of addicting and difficult challenges. I only wish that we knew who this was, and I do think there was a missed opportunity with lore here as a result. A tier, barely missing out on S. Sammy Classic Sonic Fan gets a C, and Santi gets an A tier for being a pilot. Schnoz is certainly a name, B tier. Scorch Cake, for similar reasons to the Freeze Cake, will go in A, and same with the Shuck Cake. Sheer Flea is just a Sheer Grub hack ripoff because we haven't had enough of those, so D tier. Shiba. So maybe you picked up on this, but a lot of these names have been puns according to the Pikmin wiki, and so far this is the second one I've actually understood, so B. Shepherd though, like it's an outright name of a dog and not even a pun, and her name is Shepherd. Like who names their kid Shepherd? I actually like this character a lot. I think she's pretty charming. Probably my second favorite of the Rescue Corps after my boy Russ, A tier. The Snowflake Fluttertail is a pretty good boss. Not great and pretty easy, but I felt like they were actually trying to do something unique, so I'm giving this an A. The Sovereign Bullblacks. Now, I'm no Pikmin expert. Actually, yes, I am a Pikmin expert. And this is a straight ripoff of the Emperor, Bullblacks. The fight is still whatever though, so I'll just go B. Startle Spore, for similar reasons as the Creeping Chrysanthemum, I'm putting an S. The Sun Squish is a pretty funny enemy. Obviously just being an egg, breaking Louie's mental health. And it does make me laugh when I play this game, even if the enemy is a complete pushover, B tier. Sai might be studying Pikmin ecology, but have you ever ranked every Pikmin character on a massive tier list? I bet you haven't, C tier. Toxtool is obviously a poison callback to the Puffstool, but the Puffstools in this game don't bring back the Puffman, which was their most memorable trait. His lack of effort in this regard is just kind of weird to me, so I'm just giving a C. Tusked Blowhog is a well-made design, another Ochi-centric enemy, so I'm giving this a B. Twyla looks like she's gonna tell on you to the teacher if you steal her goldfish at lunch, F tier. Venom Dweeble, I'm giving a B. Vonda, her eyes scare me, and there's nothing else to say about this character, so B tier. Waddle Quaff? What? Why? A tier. Wolfgang! I don't know if this is another dog breed I'm not aware of, but I like this name, so A tier. And Yanni is another one of my favorites of the Rescue Corps. It's pretty funny, hosting the night missions. S tier. Alright, gamers, well, I missed 4 characters in Pikmin 4, according to my research. I will be reading these off of my special Xenoblade 3 Mio notebook. Xenoblade. Alright, so the main 3 I missed, and I don't really know why, was Don Bergman, York, and Nelly. These are basically the throwback characters to Pikmin 3. But I found it really weird there were just throwback characters and not just the characters from Pikmin 3. Like, Olimar and Louie came back. I talked about that a lot in my Pikmin 4 video. It's some nerdy lore stuff, but I'm going to give them a D tier because of that. It just felt disrespectful to the Pikmin 3 fans, even though I'm not one of them. Then we have Chet. It's the second name that I've worried that I can't say in a YouTube video because it sounds bad. He's a leader. That's all I got from this guy. His occupation, it just says leader. Like, ranking these characters with nothing to go off of, painful. We'll just give him a A. How about that? Will that please everyone? Will that make anyone mad? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. And with that, I have officially ranked all the Pikmin characters, nearly 300. Here's the complete list on screen, and you know what makes me really happy? Because Pikmin fans barely get games, and this list is probably going to be accurate for up to a decade. Well, no, I heard a Pikmin spin-off is around the corner, so I guess the Pikmin hype train is starting all over, and this whole video will be outdated, and my entire life just falls apart at this point. It reveals me as a hack. Okay, have a good rest of your day. I'm tired.